What's up, everybody? I just wanted to kind of explain a little something. We did something a little different than we normally do. Not really. We went into a huge tangent on Allan's Geek Out, which took all of our Geek Outs and what we're playing to almost an hour, like 40, 50 minutes. So what I did was I cut out the tangent part of it, and I moved it to the end of the episode. So after you hear say our goodbyes and you hear a little music thing, if you stick around, you'll be able to hear all that was said and all that. Because I felt like it was a good talk, but I just kind of want to keep what you're here for tight and concise. So I hope you enjoy the episode and talk to you later. What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 56 of the Geekcast. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my buddy from, Sweden, Scotland. I can't get countries together anymore. I apologize.
Yeah.
Sweden, Scotland, it's all the same. What's up, Allan?
The arrogance of an American. It's all the same.
Oh, God.
It's across the pond somewhere over
it's just
there.
us, you know.
It's over there someplace. Whatever.
We run the world.
Listen, we run the Olympics. I'll tell you that right now, but that's irrelevant.
The fact that Mike Phelps has got more medals than most countries is a terrifying testament.
That's crazy, is it not, man? That dude is like a machine. He's like if we actually did have Terminators come back and they just said, "Hey, we're going to make you an Olympic champion. Go swim," and the dude just like blowing people away. He is
crazy.
An animal, dude. It is insane. Like. And to think about it, like the last Olympics, I thought he was done. I was like, this guy's done. He's barely even, like, when the qualifiers hit, he barely qualified for races and stuff. But he got to the Olympics and started winning golds again. And it was like, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of what they always said, like when Jordan or Gretzky or these guys, like, you just got to get them to the championship. And they'll find a way to win. And it's just, they click it up another year. And that's what he's doing. Like, he gets there, and it's like in his zone. And it's crazy because all these guys win. They go do interviews. No, not him. He goes right to the training pool and does practice laps and stuff. And it's like, this guy is a machine, man. It's insane. So we also have my friend from the north, Sean Capri.
One of your friends from the north.
I also have that Carabin dude up there too.
That Mark Carabin, what a great guy.
He is awesome. I just
want to be buddies with him. He's
Why
such
aren't
a good
you?
dude.
I'm surprised you're not. Why aren't you?
This is me trying. This is my creepy way of just putting it out there.
Okay.
I'm just putting the maybe he'll hear this and go like, maybe we will become best friends.
I brought you guys on the episode together. I thought, hey, here it is. You know what I mean? It's like when you try
I'm a big fan.
A blind date, you try to set them up, and nothing ever came out of it.
Now I'm being bashful.
It's like some sort of creepy dating site now.
Yeah, that's what Geekcast has turned into. Geekcast has turned into like creating dates for geeks. You know what I mean? Like
not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all. No. It's a wonderful thing. So we're gonna kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our Geek Outs. Allan, it's been a while. What are you geeking out about?
What am I geeking about? The new Rogue One trailer. Have we all seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wait a minute. Wait. Let me stop. So I want to do this first before we do anything.
Okay.
Toby, spoilers. This whole episode, we're going to be talking about different news and video game topics and things of that nature. So if it's going to offend your eyes and your ears, you might want to wait a year before you listen to this stuff. Carry on, Allan.
But yeah.
Are we gonna spoil the trailer?
Oh yeah, we're getting right up in that. We're gonna get all up in that.
I want to know what has you so excited because I watched it. There's only a fraction of a second that I was like, okay, awesome, and the rest I was just like, okay, more Star Wars. Let's go.
I mean, visually, what I love is like Gareth Edwards can frame shots like no other director, and it's the fact that he's taken his style and you've got Star Wars in it. I mean, that shot of the Death Star kind of above the planet, but it's obviously, as folk were like freaking out thinking ILM had messed up, it looks like it's upside down. It's a spoiler, it's a sphere in space. It's 3 dimensions, right? Just because you think it's upside down doesn't mean it's upside down. But moving on, and it's just the way he framed that shot, and then you've got it's just all that iconography, but it's the same but different.
Mhm.
And then his use of music, again, it's what we already know, but it's slightly tweaked. Doesn't sound exactly the same. And then that little shot right at the end, which I don't think they needed. I think they should have kept it, but obviously Darth Vader.
He's there. It's already been talked about. Why do they do this? It's the same thing I said about the Suicide Squad. Why did they show Batman in the trailers? Why? Yeah. That would have been the biggest thing that people would have came out of theaters like, oh my God, Batman's in this thing, and people would have flocked just to see the role he played in the thing. Essentially, everything you saw in the trailers, you saw in the Suicide Squad of Batman. So it was like, why did you do that? Why do you ruin this? And they do it every single time. The biggest one that I think that they did in recent history that I felt like was the dumbest thing ever was The Dark Knight Rises. There is a dramatic scene where the whole spoilers, Toby. There's a dramatic scene where the whole football stadium gets blown up and collapses. And you see Hines Ward catch the ball and he's running, right? And as he's running, the field's collapsing behind him. Why was that shown in trailers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is that fugitive scene, spoilers, Toby, where the train crashes and everybody walked out of the theater for weeks talking about this thing, and people went back because they were like, oh my God, you had to see that train wreck. That was the greatest train wreck I've ever seen in my life. The movie was okay, but the train wreck was so phenomenal that people flocked to the theaters for weeks after the movie came out to see about it. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like. Like, why do you give stuff away for free, man? It's so stupid. Be like the WWE. WWE doesn't give away anything. They don't give away pay-per-view caliber matches on Monday Night Raw. They save them for the pay-per-view. Same thing. Don't give away these things for free.
Let's be honest. The worst set of trailers to have come out in recent memory for giving it all away were the Batman v Superman trailers.
Here he goes. How did I know that was coming?
If you loved it up there, Bobby.
We need to move on. We've been way
Now you call it?
I know. It's way too
overtime here.
What are you geeking out about, Sean?
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to keep it really quick.
It's on Geek Out. I got to do mine too. It's going to be real quick. Go ahead.
Gosh, you guys. No, I love it. I am geeking out because I sold my super old iPad for a good price, $200, and I pre-ordered my new 3DS XL Super Mario 3D Land Edition. It comes with the game. It comes with 2 faceplates. It's gorgeous. I've got the little C-stick.
But that's not an XL.
Okay, then it's just a new 3DS. Okay, I don't even care.
You threw me off for a minute because I'm thinking that's an XL. Like,
that's even better.
No, that's good. That's good. You got a good deal.
I didn't even know what I was buying, Bobby. I was just so excited.
You're just so excited for it.
I was excited by the 2 faceplates and the $200 and a digital version of the game because I think that's something that should be on all 3DSs. And what else am I excited? I'm excited about the C-Stick because you and I were just talking about Monster Hunter Generations, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I should get into this thing. I've never really played one. I hear this is a good one to jump into. And you had mentioned you're going to want to get that C-Stick or the Frankenstein stick on the side. I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? I was panicked. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this bundle comes up, and I'm like, that's the one. That's the 3DS I will play because I have my Majora's Mask limited edition. It's in the box. It's not coming out. But this one, for some reason, I don't have a problem with taking out. I can't wait for this thing to come in. It's 5 days. As of today, we're 5 days away from this. I can't wait to share it with you guys.
The nice thing is about those, I love the faceplates, man.
Yeah.
I love them. I bought the Animal Crossing one when it came out a year ago, something like that. And right now what I have on it is the Ambassador faceplates. So on one side is Japanese writing, the other side is Nintendo. So these were the ones that they put out that only Europe was able to buy the actual, like when they announced the new 3DS, for a very limited amount of people, you could buy a new 3DS. It was called the Ambassador one. Had these special faceplates on it and all that stuff. And now they put out just the faceplates in the United States, and I bought them a while ago. and so that was I'm excited about that.
I mean, I'm going to be one of the only people out here with a non-XL. You can't buy an XL new 3DS.
I like it better. I feel like the picture quality is better. The screen's
Undeniably sharper.
The screen's a little bigger, so that that was the big
versus the last one.
Yes, on the new 3DS, the smaller version, the top screen is actually bigger than the original smaller. So that's better because ultimately that was a big issue for a lot of people. They're like, I don't want to get a regular one because the screen's so small. It's almost double the size of the original one, so it's bigger, and it's almost on par with the XL.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I'm gonna have to get a new micro SD card, but that's details because I'm gonna just load this thing up. So the thing, Bobby, we're gonna have to watch here is I've been very vocal about my virtual console.
I know what's gonna happen, brother. The floodgates are open.
I don't know if that's true. So, but the possibility is there. The possibility is there. We're gonna have to see how this goes. I really would like this to carry over to my Nintendo account. I would love this to carry over to an NX if my 3DS is going to be replaced by the NX and I'm going to have something else that I'm carrying around with me instead. It just makes sense. I don't even think it sounds entitled to this point.
What you're saying right now, as the words are coming out, that makes total sense. If I'm not carrying a 3DS and I'm not carrying an NX,
right?
So if I have to carry one, I want to be able to carry all my games on the go, in theory, and I would hope that I'd be able to tap into my virtual console on the go.
It's good stewardship of your fans. It's good. Give me instead of asking me trying to sell me on the NX, just thank me for all the purchases I've had in the past, and it's like a no-brainer for me at that point.
That's what it. You know what? It's funny, man. I fought you for how long on this, and as you're saying it, and the words are coming out, it just makes sense. So I don't think about buying a new Apple phone. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Before Apple did what they did, I used to sit there and go, "Oh, do I want an LG or a Motorola this time? I'm gonna have it for the next 2 years. Which one do I want?" Now it's just like iPhone. Don't even think about it. Well, all my stuff's on the iPhone, so I just got to carry it over, And a lot of people are the same way, and a lot of people are with Samsung as well. So it's like makes sense. Like you would have people just going like, "The NX coming out. Are you getting it?" Of course I'm getting it. I got to. I carry all my games over. Of course. Yeah.
You're gonna buy it, and you're gonna have more games than you have time for.
Yes. Agreed.
If we ran Nintendo.
Yeah, that's another show. So what I'm geeking out about, two things real quick. I got my Splatoon diorama. Got a couple days ago. Just put it together today. Thing is awesome. It is really. I put pictures up on Instagram.
It's really nice.
I love it. That thing is amazing. The hardest part was I don't speak Japanese, and all the instructions are Japanese, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know how to put this thing together. So then real quick, I started going on YouTube and looking up videos and stuff that people that put it together, because I was like, the pictures are so small, I can't figure out what does what, and I was just like, I'm in trouble. So
I'm imagining you having a beautiful mind moment where you're looking at it, you're like, I don't get it, and then just the patterns of the characters start to reveal themselves in English.
It'd be nice, but that wasn't the case.
You have the power inside of you. You just have to believe.
The other thing that I'm geeking out about, it just happened this week, and I was shocked at first that Alan didn't bring this up, but Kevin Smith is going to be directing an episode of Supergirl this year. So that means he's already been tapped to do a couple of episodes for Flash. Now he's doing Supergirl. He's already said that he wants to do Arrow. I'm excited because I like Kevin Smith. I love Kevin Smith. I don't like him. I love him. And honestly, I think he did an amazing job with Flash, even though he says that I just showed up and they told me what to do and all that.
He's being humble. He's being humble, really.
I think so too, because what he brought to that was the love for comics, and that episode of Flash was just carefree and fun and enjoyable. And when I watched it, I was just like, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kevin.
I really hope this is kind of where he just goes with his career. That he can just kind of do that stuff. It's what he's always wanted to do. That's really connecting with fans and it's breathing new life into him as well. He's been making some movies that are really for him and that cult following that he has. This is a whole new audience for him. I think it's phenomenal. I love seeing him finally kind of get that limelight that I feel he's always deserved. I think he's in that top tier talents in Hollywood. But he does some weird. He does some weird things, so that kind of keeps him from that level.
But I think what this does is it puts him in the two things that he ultimately loves. Loves comic books, and he loves directing. So it takes like his two loves and mixes them together, and it's awesome. Like I said, I think he did a great job with Flash. And spoilers, Toby, he actually rebooted the Arrow in comics years ago, and it was like Arrow was dead. Green Arrow was done. Nobody cared about Oliver Queen. Nobody gave a damn about it at all. He actually went back in right around the time that he was doing Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. He went into DC, wrote like a 6-part miniseries, brought the book back, and it just went to the tops of the charts. And a lot of what you watch on Arrow today, that's stuff that he created. And that's all his. So that's what gets me excited. It's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this dude did all this. And people don't know that. Because now Arrow is just a great book, and people read it all the time. They don't even know that, like, Kevin Smith basically rebooted it from the dead. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No. There's also a rumor that Whedon's going to direct the musical crossover episode as well. But I think that's just fan speculation getting a little bit out of
What
hand.
is that? Because you mentioned that, and I missed that one. Are they saying, like, the super crossover with all the shows?
Well, there's going to be a musical episode, apparently. And it's either going to be The Flash or it's going to be in Flash and Supergirl. And there's some... Whedon's name's now popped up, but I think that's just someone's...
Who is asking for this?
Not me. Not me. I don't like this. I don't... This isn't High School Musical Flash. Like, stop. We don't need this. Okay.
Glee Club DC.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on.
No, wait, one more thing, really quick, because I was trying to be nice, because you guys were talking about God knows what for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I had one other thing happen last night, I thought, and we haven't mentioned Pokemon Go just yet. I was at a fairly fancy dinner last night. We were all dressed up. Everybody's in suits. It was for a birthday party. We're all 30-something years old. Everybody's having really nice meals. Wine is out, drinks, everything. And then all of a sudden, somebody busts out Pokemon Go. And then another person spots it, goes like, "This is where I'm at." And then somebody else pops their phone out. There was 30 of us. I would easily say about half of us had our phones out. We're playing Pokemon Go because there's a gym like next door.
Oh.
I'm the only Team Mystic. Everybody else is Team Red, whatever the hell that thing is called.
ALLAN.
And they load this gym up with like 5 characters. I'm the only one with blue, and I'm taking them down. And so this dinner turned from super nice, and then all of a sudden we've got the nerds all playing. Well, even not the nerds, people who I'm shocked who are playing this game. We're all tapping on our phones, and they're taking the gym loaded up with their Valor characters. And then I'm going in with my blue, with my team of 6, and I've got all of the other guys and girls who are on Team Red. They're looking at my phone, seeing what's happening. So I've got like a crowd of people behind me, and I'm like knocking on them, and every time I take one down, there's an eruption of a reaction, just "oh no!" and then they're yelling at each other from across the table. "You got to take the gym back. You got to get your guy in there." Amazing moment. And
the takeaway from this is that you don't take Sean to a fancy restaurant.
Yes.
I didn't even start it. I was like the 9th person. It wasn't even close.
No.
The only thing, it was because I was Team Mystic that this thing started to get a little crazy. But a great moment for video games and for nerds everywhere.
That's awesome. Well, we know what you're playing. So, Alan, what are you playing right now?
No Man's Sky.
There we go. I want to know about this thing. Should I get it? Should I not?
I'm only 2-3 hours in because I've only got it the other day, but I've been night shifts and work and other things. So, so far, you like Minecraft, so I think that's going to scratch the itch you have for that.
Oh, I hate that saying.
You hate that saying? Why?
I hate when people say it scratches that itch. It's like we caught an STD from playing video games.
Well.
You just have a skin condition. I mean, I don't know why you went straight to STI.
I know. What the hell, man?
Like, get your mind out the gutter.
Now you know what's happening up in Canada.
Yeah. Pokemon Go.
It's cold here. We got to do something.
He goes to dinner, and next thing you know, he's catching diseases.
You just get penicillin shots for free from the government. It's fine.
Good
like
Lord.
us. Bobby would have to pay for it, but that's because, America.
Good
but,
God.
yeah. I'm loving the exploration. The scale of this game is, I don't think I've never played EVE Online, so I'm probably like, there's folk out there that say, "Nah, this has been done," but it's like the scale is just insane. Like, you'll land on a planet, you'll do your bit, you'll fly up, and then you'll just jump to this massive space station and then you'll fly off to another planet. You get your hyperdrive to another star system. It's just insanity. There's no way we're going to see everything this game's got to offer. Once I get to the center of the universe, or the galaxy,
should take you 30 hours.
Should take me 30 hours, which is fine because Toby and I have still.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what the guy said was, the guy that did it already, what he said was he did nothing else. He just worked, and he said it's a lot of repetitive, boring nonsense, and he went right to the center and got there because he wanted to see who was there, and that was it.
I think he took advantage of an exploit as well. He kind of kept mining or trading a high-level item, and then he managed to upgrade his ship super quick. So what took him 30 hours in a very empty, doing it on his own, will probably double it 60 if you're going to explore. But what I'm interested in is where they go after, because right now you get to the center, that's your goal, brilliant. What do I do after that? So I'm hoping that they're going to it'll evolve like Destiny. We'll see like a release pack where you'll get a new adventure. Okay, you found the center, now you've got to go and find this, and it's just like, honest to God, all you need to do with this game is download every Rush album, every Radiohead album that you've got, stick on your headphones, and just go play the game, and hours.
Trip out the whole time.
Pretty much, yeah. If you can drop acid as well, I mean that's going to just blow your mind.
Jesus, we don't condone that.
I'm not saying that you should go out and drop acid.
How is the soundtrack for this game?
It's a very it's kind of very mellow tone. It's not like
Minecraft.
Yeah, the way I describe it is it's kind of like Minecraft and Firewatch and EVE Online had this really messed up orgy, and No Man's Sky is kind of the abomination that came from that night.
That's the one thing I'll say about Minecraft is when I play Minecraft and I'm getting into digging and stuff like that, it's soothing, man. Next thing I know, hours have gone by and I haven't even realized it. When the Mario edition came out, horrible, because it's Mario music and it's like this doesn't fit. It's weird. I'm down here in mines digging and stuff, and I'm listening to and I'm like, no, stop.
Well,
I don't need
this.
The
thing I did, I got the special edition, which again, just box art. This game's stunning. It's I don't know if he did it, but it's like Ollie Murs kind of style. But I'm gonna have to check if he actually did the artwork for the game. But there was a game-breaking glitch that if you use the upgrade ship you got as a free bonus, you do the whole thing where you have to learn to build your hyperdrive. So if you got that ship, you skip the need to have the hyperdrive, but if you then upgrade that ship to something else and you need the hyperdrive, you can't get it, you have to go back and it becomes an issue. So I've done all the tutorial stuff, and then I'm going to redeem all my free stuff so that I'm avoiding game-breaking glitches. But if you've not got it, Bobby, I think you'll enjoy it.
What is it, $40?
What are we over here? Yeah, it's about £50.
It's a full.
It's a full $60.
Yeah.
Well, it's a full game, yeah.
Yeah. Probably not. Anyway, no.
You're bringing in that big money, that guru money.
You know what my thing is?
Guru money.
yeah. I wish I had guru money. I do have guru money. It's not for that.
Now announcing Bobby's Patreon.com/guru money.
That's the next thing.
That's the next
Patreon guru.
That's Anyway.
Title of the show.
Sean, what are you playing?
I am playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, and I am loving it. It is
How far are you?
So weird. I am about 15 hours in, but that actually makes it sound like I'm further into the story than I really am. Once you basically... It has spent the first 11 hours teaching me new stuff. It continues to build and build and build. And that's what I really love about some of these Japanese role-playing games, is you walk into these things and you think you know what you're getting yourself into, but there are always new systems and new creative twists on things that you've been doing in the past. And there's so much familiarity with, if you've ever played a Persona game, Persona 4 is the one that I'm coming off of. The dungeons are almost exactly the same. The style of the camera, the style of the battle system is very similar. A lot of nods to Fire Emblem as well. I think, Bobby, you've been playing this as well, so you know this. I just love the way that they mix these things. I thought this was going to be a little bit more janky, but it totally makes sense. The way that Persona was built totally leaves room for just kind of any warrior character to be teamed up with your cute Japanese character that you're running around with. I'm loving it. It's super weird. I'm almost glad that it wasn't translated. Everything is in subtitles, so all the dialogue is Japanese, and it's all subtitles, and it's fine. Like, it just means that I'm playing a completely different game than I ever would have. I've never played anything like this. It's basically as close to importing a game as I'm getting, and it's just there's a lot of repetition, so it's kind of the same grinding that you're going to be doing in a lot of these types of games. I've hit a point where I really do need to go back and start leveling up.
Yeah.
But every time I do, I feel much more powerful. Like, it doesn't really even seem like this slog. It does seem like if I hit a level up, or if I can do some unity, I can create a new weapon quite easily, or have these new power-ups. It just seems to be enough to keep me around. And it's the game. I haven't had a game like this in a while where, like, I can't wait to go back and play it. I've been playing games just to play games lately, and this is the one where I'm like, I can't wait to just go start this up. So I'm loving it. Got it for my birthday, told everybody, don't worry about it. It's super weird. I can't even explain to you what this is because it's just ridiculous. So thank you very much for the present. Let's maybe go on to the next thing.
So myself, I kind of got a little crazy here lately.
Ooh.
And I've kind of gone back into playing a lot of stuff because after the last episode with Toby and we were talking about our backlogs, it kind of got me into, like, I got to go back and play some of these games. So one thing that I had issues with, 2 games in particular. One was Rayman Legends. Other was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Could not play them at all. And I was telling you this, I think, Sean, where I got to the point where I started to question my abilities to play video games anymore. Like, I felt like I'm losing. As I'm getting older, I'm just not as quick on the buttons. I'm not doing this anymore to actually be able to beat games the way I was when I was younger. So when going back a year ago, we had Julius from Image and Form on the show, and him and I were talking, and I was saying that, like, man, I feel like there's lag in the gamepad between the gamepad and the screen. I can't use the gamepad for certain things. I have to switch to the Pro Controller a lot of times, and even then, like, I just feel like when I hit jump, it's just a slight tick off.
Mm-hmm.
Never realized that there's a game input on your TVs. I just assumed that, like, I'm watching at the best visual quality. That's the best. Didn't realize that when you have an HD TV, when you're going from your cable box up, it needs to the TV, in order to produce an HD, has these filters on it. Never knew that. Never realized that. When you put it on game, it eliminates them filters. Eliminating them filters eliminates the lag between the button push and the game. Actually went in, beat Rayman Legends last weekend after I got done an episode with Toby. Just beat Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze yesterday, and I'm like, now I feel like a god because I'm just like, I'm back. I literally realized that was the issue, and especially with Rayman Legends, because there's a couple of boards on there where they do. It's kind of like a Guitar Hero of sorts, where it's all buttons and it's all rhythm method. And dude, it is so cool. Them levels are so amazing. And if you're not precise, you can't. And it took me forever to beat these levels when I was playing upstairs on the big TV. And now that I have it down here, and the only thing I have is video games, and I set it to game, I'm like zipping through these levels. I had a level on Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Literally, when I tell you I played this level 60 times and could not beat it, and we get so frustrated. I played it one night for an hour straight, to the point where I was getting ready to throw the controller through the TV, and Tony's like, you need to, like, put that down and go take a break.
That's the worst thing they can say, too. I don't need to put it down. I need to beat it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know I could do it. I can't. 3 times the other night. 3 times, whipped it. And then just kept going straight through. And the most I ever played a level was like maybe 10 times. Because the game still is hard. The game is very hard. But, dude, I was crushing it last night. And when I got to the final boss took me a long time to beat. That probably took me an hour to beat him. But that was the bosses with all of them. Because there's no, like, checkpoint in the middle. And you're just repeating over and over and over again. It's like, it finally gets to the point where you're zipping through the early parts of the boss battle really quick. But... so that's where I'm at. And then I dipped into Xenoblade Chronicles this morning, the original one, not X, on the Wii U. Got back into that, been playing that, and then I'm going to actually, this week, I'm going to go back into Tokyo Mirage Sessions a little bit more and get going with that. So I had the week off, so it's going to be like just diving into stuff that I haven't played in a while and just get back into my backlogs. Wow. Man, we've gone a long time. An hour on nonsense. Wow.
Pretty much, yeah, that's what we do.
Not my fault.
So we're going to dip into our topic. We only have, well, it's not one topic. It's a bundle of things. But we're basically wanting to go over the NX stuff. There's been a lot of stuff coming out lately, and we kind of wanted to like weed through it all, say what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and all that stuff. So some rumors up to date. The first rumor, not a rumor, it got confirmed. Dragon Quest X has been officially confirmed that it is coming to the NX. So that means it's coming to Sony. It's coming to the PlayStation. It's coming to the NX. And I believe they said the 3DS at one point it was going to hit on as well. But that's good news that it's, we actually have some third parties going to support. And I feel like Square has always been kind of good with Nintendo. They've always been very supportive of the 3DS. I know that the big consoles they've kind of been like, they don't really mess with anymore. So that's one. The next rumor is that NVIDIA has canned the Shield tablet. And they're saying that they did that because basically with the NX on the rise, that the NX will kind of be the replacement in their mind, and they don't want to compete head-to-head with the NX, in theory.
Have they said that? I missed that one.
You missed that rumor?
I missed that rumor about the Shield tablet.
That was just today. I just saw that on Twitter today. I went in.
But it's sort of contradictory to another rumor that you saw as well about AMD.
That was the one I was going to dip into, Alan.
Sweet segue.
Yeah, before we get to there, two other rumors that I wanted to hit on. The one was for a new patent that hit yesterday, I believe, or the day before. It was Friday. It hit, and that supports a lot of the recent NX rumors. Basically, it's the controllers that will attach to the side of the screen. It's not using Bluetooth. It's using infrared. Is that what you said, Alan?
The patent, the way I read the layman is it doesn't use a magnetic powered connector. It uses an infrared one, so it should require power draw on the attached device.
Gotcha.
So in short, it registers the button press, but it doesn't actually require the physical unit to have power in it, which I don't think will actually make it to the final product for reasons that I can go into later. But it's a silly patent.
And then the last thing, real quick before we get into all that stuff, the last thing that I read today that was said was Bethesda. So Bethesda had said they will take a look at the NX, but it hasn't been a concrete, we're going to support NX. And Alan and I were talking about this before. I don't want them on NX. Stay away. You can't. My thing is like, it'd be awesome to have Fallout. You can't even build a Fallout that runs smoothly on the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's not. It's going to be a hot mess on NX. So just stay away. Just you guys stay with your computers and your supercomputers because that's what you do and you do well. I'm not taking anything from a Bethesda game. They make amazing games. A lot of people love them, but on consoles they're trash. Just straight up.
Depends what game.
Yeah.
Most of them.
I kind of agree. It sounds harsh, but I kind of agree with you. And the sad part is that along with that comes a lot of fans, and that's really the fans who maybe like they're apologists or they sort of glance over some of these technical issues that are
they're apologists.
They're obvious for sure. I was watching Chelsea play Fallout last night, and it's just like I have major issues with the frame drop in some of these situations.
Change the name of the developer from Bethesda to Ubisoft, it'd be a whole different ballgame. They would be getting crushed right now with all the nonsense, and they get a pass. I don't know why they get a pass.
Yeah, it's very true.
They get a pass.
Sure.
So it is what it is. Okay, so Alan, let's break down this AMD stuff that you heard, or we heard. What exactly is this that people are hearing and all that stuff?
The rumor being that AMD are claiming or have stated they got a big order from Nintendo, and everyone's going straight to that's NX, that's NX. Well, from what I've now read, there was an updated article I read that states that the information that's being touted as new is actually information that was out probably last year, because they cited the original article, but AMD did say that they've just got an order from Nintendo. Will it be an NX? I was trying to work out if it is going to be NX. Why are they working with a Tegra system on a chip? Because AMD and Nvidia are like chalk and cheese, you know.
Could it be?
I think this is just information being taken out of context.
But because Sean and I touched on this last night a little bit, I think, and could it be one of two things? Could it be a similar Sony Panasonic deal where Nintendo is working with both company, or Philips, but not Panasonic?
I just want to save you a little.
Yeah, that's fine. Where Nintendo's working with both companies, and whoever does the better that they like actually gets picked up.
Well, yeah, that could happen. It did happen with the 3DS, because there was always a long-running rumor that it was going to be Tegra based, and then they went with DMP, the company that made the processor in the 3DS. I don't know. The thing that makes me think it's not going to happen is that they've got dev kits out. We're that close to launch. Can they really reconfigure the architecture, get it out to developers, get their games running? You know, the thing that you're saying is that Nintendo need to get out the gate with stuff for the system. And I think that if they have set everything out with Tegra in mind, and then they're just going, oh, hang on, we're going to do a 360, that puts at risk having a strong lineup, because devs are then going to go, well, we now need to rebuild or rework our engine to work on that chip because it's different. And I just don't think they're in a position to do that. Or
could it have been when Nintendo did the delay, per se, because originally everybody was pointing to November, then they pushed it to March. Could that have been what it was legitimately about? Because at the time, just before that rumor, or just before Nintendo pushed everything, there was rumors that, like, hey, Nintendo's actually building consoles and they're moving forward with the NX. And then it was like, no, we're not doing anything. Could it have been that originally they were going AMD, and then they said, no, we're going to switch, and they went with the Tegra instead, and that could be where we're at now.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's very possibly what's happened. I think also the November rumor came about from an expectation of it releasing this year. There was the Zelda was coming to it. Zelda historically releases in November. I think there's a lot of circumstantial around it that said, okay, they're going to hit this date, and then obviously that's not the plan.
Yeah.
I was the biggest. I mean, you'll know I was the biggest proponent of the fact that they were going to use an AMD chipset, because the history they've got from GameCube through to now with AMD is, you know, there's a strong history there, and it just seemed really a glove hand fit. And now it's Tegra. Personally, I think it'll be Tegra X2 based system for power reasons.
So you're saying essentially Tegra and AMD can't work together?
Well, they're both the Tegra's a system on a chip, so you've got your GPU and it has CPU operating as well. So you have, unless I'm wrong on that one, I'd have to check. Now I'm doubting myself. Damn you, Bobby.
Well, because let me tell you where I'm going with this first. Could it be that the Tegra is for the handheld and the AMD is for the actual home console portion of it all?
Well, again, it'll be two different architectures, because unless AMD have got something that's really closely linked to Pascal, would it be Zen? Don't know. I don't think there's going to be a home console, but I think what we're going to see is, buy the handheld, you get the dock, you can have it with your telly, and then maybe a year down the line, okay, we're now releasing this supplemental device. Remember, they've got the patent for a supplemental. So it's a dock that has an improved GPU, extra RAM. So when you dock your system, that can also take some load off and give you a bump in performance. That's a possibility. Because at the moment, everything's pointing to, if it goes Tegra 2, probably twice as powerful as Wii, not portable mode. If it goes docked, it should be able to bump itself and ramp up and run it up. An increase.
So you're saying the handheld portion of it could be double the Wii U?
On a dock mode. If it's going to
Okay.
run handheld, it'll probably take a bump down just so it can run the battery. And again, this is all just speculation I've seen on a few forums.
Well, which in theory would make it what the one rumor is saying that it's going to be between a PS3 and a PS4 in terms
Yeah.
of like power. So that would make sense. Like when it's handheld, you get like a bump above the PS3, which is the Wii U right now.
Yeah.
And then not quite a PS4, but right, and that's kind of what I've felt all along. Like when people were saying, like, I always felt like, and what I was saying was a Wii U and an Xbox One. Like that'll be your gauge, because the Xbox One is just a little below a PS4. I don't know what. I just feel like, give us something, Nintendo. Like at this point, like I don't get it. I don't understand where we're at right now, where it's just a continual guessing game. And like at some point, at least tell us when you're going to make an announcement.
They're up against it now. They're up against it. I mean, because I've pissed you off so much just moaning about the fact that we have not had anything from Nintendo about this thing. E3, we get nothing. We're still running on rumor, and that's over a year. We're coming into September when everyone now thinks it'll get announced, and lo and behold, Sony are now saying, hey, we're going to show off the Neo. So you've got their whole plan of we're going to avoid E3 to avoid, I'm guessing, competition. You're going up against the Neo.
Yeah.
So you've not got the month to yourself. So you've got to decide, do we get out early, show everyone off, get excitement going, then the Neo comes out? I mean, they're going for different markets. They need to stop worrying about someone else stealing the limelight. Just get us some information.
I think they'll wait till after Sony. I don't think they're going to go before Sony. I think they're going to wait for Sony to make an announcement, and then they'll push with what they're going to do. Ultimately, I think we're looking at the end of September is when we're going to hear something.
And I am excited as anybody. I think that I just cannot wait because I'm so tired. As you know, Bobby, I'm tired of all of this. I don't see the strategic benefit of announcing the NX before Christmas. I really don't, unless there's something to some data to support that if you have X number of months before launch gets you so many pre-orders. I don't understand why you announce the system before the holidays. There's so much going on in October, November, December to make you forget that this is an announcement, or to pull you away from all of that stuff. Unless there is something to say, when the NX comes out, there is this gold mine of stuff waiting for you, and you can start piling into that gold mine now with all of your virtual console or I don't even know what else. There's so much that needs to happen between announcement and the launch, and keep people engaged that whole time. I don't know why they would announce unless there's something else for us to do in the meantime. I think even like if it truly is a March launch, I mean January 1st.
Yeah.
Really, like, start the new year. Let's get excited about something else. But aside from just appeasing the fan base, I don't really get why a September announcement, or even waiting until after the Neo is announced, or relating it to any of that stuff is even relevant. But it's not fun to talk about. That's the thing.
I think
about that.
I think that if you don't announce by October, don't even talk about it in November. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I think if they're not going to do September, which I don't believe that Nintendo themselves has said we're going to do September. I thought that they said we were going to make an announcement in the fall.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Nintendo won't be announcing this because they want to. The only reason Nintendo will announce it this year is because they know they'll be ramping up production in the next coming weeks.
That's true. That's an important thing where they have to get ahead of leaks and things like that.
Yeah.
Dev kits are going to be... we're talking final revised dev kits will be getting shipped out. You're going to have marketing departments starting their thing. And a lot of leaks generally come from marketing departments when they're like, look, this is what we're going to do. Nintendo will only be doing it so that they can at last control the message, which, to be perfectly honest, they've had zero control over since they announced the damn thing. It's just been speculation. So if it is announced, it'll be at the reason of, we don't want Foxconn photographs to be the first time you see this system. We don't want blurry footage of a developer unit being the first thing you see. They're going to want to say, right, this is what it is, this is what it's about, this is the games you're going to get. And then the problem they've got is maintaining that hype level when you've got Neo launching probably end of this year. Scorpio's next gen, I'm all up inside one of those things.
But the thing is like, that's not, like you said, that's not their competition.
No.
And they can't worry about those guys, because at this point, before Sony and Xbox or Microsoft even talked about their next gen, whatever, their mid step, their half step to VR, before they even made that announcement, Nintendo was in the ballpark, and it was like, okay, we're playing the game. Now you can't mess with them, because you got no chance of matching them power for power. You have to go your opposite route, and if that's the case, the only thing, and we talked about this before, the only thing that I think Nintendo's worried about is Sony is very notorious for copycat of whatever Nintendo does. And I think they want them to get out and say, this is what Neo is, we're making it, we're going, and then they go, okay, here we are. I don't think they worry about Microsoft that much. I think they're more worried about Sony of anything. Because through history of since the PlayStation 1, like everything Nintendo's done, Sony's come and followed suit. So I think that might be the only thing that they're worried about, is because they tried to duplicate the gamepad. Like, that Vita was pushed when it was initially announced and all that. A lot of people were pushing it, and a lot of articles were coming out there like, this is Sony's answer to the gamepad. Except for, hey, you can take it on the go, and you can go places.
It's what the NX could be.
Yeah, and if that's what Nintendo is trying to do, if Sony or Microsoft do something like that, I think it kills Nintendo and the NX. So, because they're going to go, hey, why would I mess with the NX when this is a much more powerful console and I can go that direction with it, I
don't think that you're right. They're not competing for market. I mean, the market, whatever Nintendo's trying to do, they're trying to bridge handheld home console. And I'd revise a comment I made earlier about there not going to be a home console unit. My original plan, and I've always said, is there's going to be a handheld hybrid that you can take on the go and dock. There is possibly going to be a more powerful home unit where you can just stick your game in from the handheld, play it with slightly improved resolution and all that stuff. Kind of like what Neo's going to do. It'll play one way on the PS4, but when you get the PS4K version, it's going to have bells and whistles you're not going to get.
Yeah.
But they're not competing directly with them, but they're competing for my money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hands down getting a Scorpio. I don't play my Xbox One. Scorpios, I'm all over it from a point of view. I just think it's going to be a badass piece of kit. I might get a Neo. If Sony are going to go with the route they're planning, and we'll talk about it later, I might get one of them. I want a PSVR. Nintendo have got 3 competing products that I want to buy, and they haven't shown me anything. Make me pick that over one of those other 3.
I've been torn up for making that argument time and time again. I'm so glad to hear you say that. They are competing, even though if we're talking about different audiences, different types of games, I have X number of dollars to spend on games, and a good chunk of that is going to be taken up by NX, VR, Neo, Scorpio, and I mean, like, that's just in one real space of entertainment.
All the stuff we want to buy as adults.
Yep.
Nintendo can't just think. Nintendo are no longer getting a free pass from me.
But this is
Call of Duty. I don't go out and buy them now on the day when I wait for reviews. Nintendo aren't getting my money straight away.
Mm-hmm.
After Wii U, they have to earn me giving them my money.
The thing that excites me here is that we actually find ourselves in a sort of similar situation as we did with the Wii, when it was actually okay for them to have not the best graphics. Everybody was Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, we knew were going HD, but not everybody had an HD TV. Now we have these systems going 4K, not everybody has 4K, and it's good that we have these companies that are pushing the envelope and trying to get us to that higher fidelity, but it's actually fine that Nintendo comes out with a console that actually speaks to a massive portion of the consumer base out there, where it's like, this is a console that fits for your TV. You don't need to upgrade anything. You don't have to have additional spending. This is the one for you. The other guys are going to have technology that doesn't fit in your living room.
Yeah.
So it could work. That's exciting to me for Nintendo. As a Nintendo fan, like, that it might be just a better fit at this time.
I think the reason why you guys get torn up too is Sorry, it's the fanboys. The fanboys don't want to acknowledge because they're being fed this horseshit from Nintendo that we don't need HD. We don't compete with them. We're doing our own thing. No, you're not. No, you're not. At the end of the day, you make video games. So wake up and realize that you are in a competition. You're not in the arms race. Yes, I agree. By all means, you got no chance being in an arms race. But you have to come out the box with something solid. And I think Nintendo is under this mindset of like, well, the consoles don't mean anything. The power of the console doesn't mean anything. It's the games. Because they came out with the Wii U. It was supposed to be more powerful. It was more powerful. It was supposed to be on par. It was until the 4 and the 1 got announced. The problem is that like they didn't produce games and nobody bought the console. You know, and this time it sounds like they're going more games heavy, and that's what they're focusing on, and that's what, you know, even what Kimishima said, like, that's where we need to be. I just feel like they're not messaging at all, and they're not, you know, that's the one thing. It's crazy how when Iwata was alive, the guy drove me crazy because it was like, tell me what's going on, you know, and I never thought that when he passed away and left Power, things would get worse, and they have. Yeah. They're just not communicating. When's the last time we had a Nintendo Direct? Like, they're not telling anything. Like, you're talking about before E3 was the last Nintendo Direct. That is insanity. Like, that's the one thing I'll say about Iwata. Like, he might not have showed us anything at E3, but you could have bet your sweet ass that 2 weeks after E3 we would have got a Nintendo Direct.
You never had a situation or environment like this right now, though. You never had that with Iwata, period. So it's really hard to compare the situations. You didn't have a frankly dead console waiting for something else to happen. Yeah. Even as the Wii U was on the Wii was on the decline as people were moving on to other things, you still had a 3DS to talk a lot about. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to compare. I don't think they don't have anything to say. Yeah. I don't think they should be talking right now. Again, I don't see any benefit aside from appeasing us as the fans, and then, as Alan mentioned, just getting ahead of leaks, which I think speaks to the problem of a March release. If that pushes your marketing push to fall, I think that really speaks to the trouble of a spring launch.
And you know something? I think the reason why, and I think I just answered my own question. I think the reason why we're not getting directs is because no matter what they show in the direct, everybody's going to flip out like, where's the NX? Yeah. And that's what I think they're trying to avoid. Right. They're trying to ignore they're trying to ignore the elephant in the room and just be like, we don't see it. We're going a different direction. We don't know anything.
We also need to consider that they're going to be really aware of marketing this right. And because the Wii U, they screwed the pooch on that one. We've discussed it 1,000 times, so we're not going to go into it again and again. But we know where they went wrong. They know where they went wrong. The problem is they're not competing with Sony and Microsoft directly now. For our money, they are. But in terms of a product, with what the NX is kind of pitching itself as, they are gunning for a market that's controlled by Apple. The tablet market, which what they're trying to kind of muscle in on here, is controlled by Apple.
Which means their announcement should follow an Apple model, or even like a Fallout kind of thing. Like, you haven't heard anything about this. We've been silent for all these years. Here it is. This is what it is. This is how much it costs. And guess what? It's available in 6 weeks. You can pre-order now. That would just be huge.
Yeah.
They do also need, though, they've got to be aware. They've got to manage to sell this to people that have already got tablets. It's like, well, okay, I can get gaming on the go. So it's gonna focus on. Okay, it's going to be a 5-inch screen, so it's not going to be a full-size tablet. It's going to be something you stick under your telly as well. So they need to get the messaging right. They need to have videos, presentations that set this up, show you how easy it is, but they have to be very aware that, and they probably will be, that they're going for a market space that is dominated by one company and one product, and that's not one company. It's a company that's got a lot of disposable income. If they wanted to destroy the NX, they could. If Apple really wanted to, they would repitch the iPhone. They could just undercut Nintendo.
Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, but I think the one thing that you're kind of like pushing aside is the fact of Nintendo makes the best games in the world. Mm-hmm. hands down. That's the one thing Apple will never have in their realm of possibility because they don't focus on that. Yeah.
We're not seeing innovation from Apple. We're not seeing innovation from Samsung. We're seeing a little bit from Microsoft, but people aren't really biting on it. The tablet industry now is desperate for innovation, and this is really, again, it's about timing. The Wii U launched at a time when quality tablets were available. People were eating them up even for $800 a piece, but there were also the cheaper ones that were coming out, and people just wanted to have a tablet. Tablet market overall right now is in a decline, not only in terms of the innovation, but also in purchasing. People are buying bigger phones, and they're going towards more like the hybrid kind of like laptop kind of thing. But a pure tablet is not what people are looking for anymore. And it seems to me that Nintendo has this chance right now to go, it does this and all these other things. And by the way, we're Nintendo. We make all the greatest games in the world. This is the time to do tablet kind of gaming.
I'm interested to see what we know that they do Netflix and that, but it's going to be what else does the NX do? We know it's going to have Nintendo games. Cool. It's going to be able to play with buttons, which is going to be a life save. But what else can I do with it?
And it'll do the Nintendo mobile games. So there is some sort of, well, that's what we're hearing. Yeah. There's going to be some crossover, and I would love to see that kind of expand somehow. I don't know how they do this, but beyond, maybe this is a third party on another level. A third-party strategy on another level of saying to people, well, if you're making an iOS and an Android version, you make an NX version as well, and then have that as like just another giant ecosystem. Like when iPhones first came out, all the commercials you would see is there's 100,000 apps or there's 200, whatever the number was. It was about quantity of things that you can do. And so if you have this NX that has console games, it has mobile games, or sorry, like handheld as in like 3DS kind of stuff, and it has mobile, my God, this has the potential to make such a huge splash, and I really hope this is why they're not saying anything right now.
Yeah, I agree.
We will see.
But this is me getting myself all... See, I spend the whole episode just like, don't get excited about this stuff. Like, we don't know what's coming. It's all crap.
Oh, dude.
And then I'm like, and they can do this, and they can do this.
No.
Why do I do this, Bobby? You sucker me with this garbage.
This is why I drink. You know?
I agree. I agree. So
the NX.
That is all. That's all we got. We went way over. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all that good stuff. Watching us on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Follow Allan, Instagram, Twitter, @Allan_Paxton. Follow Sean on Twitter, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, @Nintendo Gurus. See you later.
Bye.
Peace out. Loving you all.
Listen.
WWE. WWE doesn't give away anything. They don't give away pay-per-view caliber matches on Monday Night Raw. They save them for the pay-per-view. Same thing. Don't give away these things for free.
Let's be honest. The worst set of trailers to have come out in recent memory for giving it all away were the Batman v Superman trailers.
Here he goes. How did I know that was coming?
You loved it up there, Bobby.
And you know what's really bad, Bobby, is that if you watch all those trailers, there's still a better edited version of that film than the final film was.
I think I disagree with you on one thing. I felt like Suicide Squad gave away a lot more in terms of what was actually in the movie than Batman v Superman.
You didn't even have a villain in those trailers, though.
In what?
Yeah,
in Suicide Squad.
Well,
we need to do
no, but
Suicide Squad trailer episode because that film is deserving of a breakdown because a lot of issues, but I loved it. It was a great film for what it is. It's just why did they pick her as the bad guy?
Who do you want as the bad guy?
Enchantress.
No,
Spoilers, Toby.
No, wait a minute. Yeah, Toby. Spoilers, Toby. Who do you? Okay, Who do you want as the bad guy?
You know what? It shouldn't have been, and it didn't need to be this kind of world-ending like whatever. It's this. No offense. Looking at the Suicide Squad.
You're not answering the question.
Okay.
Who did you want as the bad guy?
Well, I'm not up on the DC villains.
Thank you. Stop right there. Stop right there.
I
You
would
did
have
it to
gone with a
yourself.
smaller scale problem versus, because let's be honest, those guys are not going to be able to save the world from, Darkseid or hell, technically what was going on in that film.
But that's what they were created for. They were always created for that. They were always created to do these missions that they didn't feel like. Well, first off, in the world of DC Universe, there is no Justice League yet. So they don't know that they have this super group that can actually go off and do this thing. So the government is like, in their mind, their one proponent to save the world is dead. So they create the super group to go off and do this type of stuff. That's the way Suicide Squad was built back when I was a kid, was this rogue group that it was more or less like, you go take on the big guys because we're not sure because they didn't trust, and not that you shouldn't trust, but they didn't trust like the superhero, the super friends per se.
This is why we need to do an episode just about the Suicide Squad.
I'm just tired of doing episodes that have to teach you DC history, man, because that's what has to happen every single time.
Maybe if they made a good
Sean
movie.
just sit back drinking coffee like.
This is awesome. I wish I had popcorn.
We do this every time.
I'm just. It's like I get to be here live listening to the show, but this is exactly how I listen. When they download the episode, you guys go at it, and I'm just like, well, this is fun.
Alessandro's sitting there with me, going like, look at that. Look. Do I feel like Suicide Squad was a great movie? I thought it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. There was Easter eggs in there that made me freak out, and I think that's what gets me excited when I see them little nods where DC's going like, "Here you go, buddy. Thank you for coming by. Coming to see the movie." Yeah, like that type of stuff is what excites me. Like I was saying to Sean, like when me and Sean were talking about it after we did If We Ran Nintendo last week, and I was just like, I felt like that movie is essentially a love story between the Joker and Harley Quinn. And that's what the whole basic tone of, spoilers, Toby, that's what the whole tone of it all is and such. And I felt like, I took that when I walked away from it. Like the whole villain and all that stuff, that was one other thing. And that was, it is what it is. Was I happy with the villain? I didn't care. It was one of those let's save the world things. And that's,
I loved her. I didn't love.
I thought she was badass.
The group of their. I mean, now we're really getting to spoilers, but
yes, whatever.
The villain situation could have been handled slightly better, but I liked most of it.
Yeah,
put it that way.
I liked her. I didn't like the brother.
Oh, that's what I was dancing around.
Yeah. Honestly, God, the brother was like the love child of Ghost Rider and the Destroyer from the Thor movies. It was like
I thought that she could handle she was the stronger of the two.
Toby.
Whatever. It's been 2 weeks. If you haven't gone to see it yet, we said spoilers. We started the episode off spoilers. I can't
love how we
for
completely veered off of Star Wars, though.
I know. It's
Star
amazing.
Wars is ace. It doesn't need saying. But Suicide Squad, now that needs to be talked about.
No, I think that I just felt like ultimately that was my one flaw. The one thing I walked away with, like, why did I need this guy? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need this guy. He could have, whatever. It was like, he was like one of Bowser's kids, essentially. Like, you're working your way up to Bowser, and you got to deal with this little nonsense guy. But I'll tell you what, though, man. Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, dude, they killed it for me. Yeah, but them two, for me, stole the show. Like, them two, for me, were just like, because... And I think I said this to you, Sean. I wasn't expecting Will Smith to be as good as he was. I really didn't.
I don't think anybody was.
No, when they cast him in that spot, I was like, oh, what the hell? Who was, and this is a while ago, but who was Tom Hardy supposed to play? Do you guys remember?
I didn't even hear that. He was
play Captain Boomerang.
Oh, my God, I would have liked him better. I like Captain Boomerang, but, man, I love Tom Hardy.
I think he was playing Captain Boomerang. I'd have to check, but I'm fairly certain that's who he was playing. But, hey, this film did one thing. I didn't hate Jai Courtney. Everything else he's been in, I've just wanted to, I don't know, just kill him.
I liked him. I liked him. I liked him a lot. I liked Katana. I thought all of them were awesome, man. I thought they all did a great job, really. And one thing that I really loved of what they did was they made Amanda Waller. They pulled her right out of the comic books. When you watch The Arrow, and if you watch The Last Green Lantern with it's not. That's not the Amanda Waller I grew up knowing. Like, Amanda Waller is a badass, and that's what she was in this. It was just like, oh man, I love it.
Tom Hardy was supposed to play Rick Flag. That would have been
really?
awesome.
Dude, that sucks. I wish he didn't back out. Nah, whatever. Although Rick Flag was good in it. I like the guy that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it Kinnaman?
Kinnaman? Yeah.
Kinnaman.
Now,
Like RoboCop.
but let's stop for a second. Let's back it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Here's my question for you, Alan. And this is the one thing that I have an issue with the Star Wars stuff. And I think it's more an issue with Disney than it is with Star Wars.
Okay.
I just feel like Disney is in this cookie cutter mode where everything they're doing right now, including Marvel, is all just cookie cutter. And it's all just same of the same. And I feel like your main episodes should have one feel to it. And then your kickoffs should have a different tone to them. And I felt like when I watched Rogue One, the trailer, don't get me wrong, I'm going to go see it. I like Star Wars. I'm not knocking the series or anything like that. But I just feel like the tone feels very reminiscent to what I just watched. And that's what I'm curious. Do you feel that way or do you feel differently?
I can see what you mean. That's why I kind of mentioned it's like the iconography. We know it, but it's different. And that's why I think Edwards is a good starting point. Because when you watch Monster, when you watch Godzilla, he's got a very... His style is very different to likes of Abrams and definitely like what's come before. What I'm interested to see is the story behind this. It's very kind of Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven type story. These guys are, you know, spoilers for those. You're not coming out of this alive.
Yeah.
From what I've heard about what's been leaked, script-wise, tonally, this film's a little darker.
Yeah.
So they've done.
I definitely got that out of the trailer.
Yeah, I got that.
Like the music, you're mentioning how the music is familiar but a little bit different. It's almost like they took like a minor key and splashed it all over the themes, and it's just this really dark and futile. They talk about the chance of survival, and so I think that the tone is different. I don't think it's going to be cookie cutter. And what I love about this new series of Star Wars movies, and JJ started this actually first with Star Trek. He brought it over to Star Wars. We're seeing this now in this trailer, at least I think, is this sense of scale. Like these vehicles and these spaceships are freaking huge, and I just love seeing them brought down to like the real level. So when they're shooting at the AT-ATs, or they've got that TIE fighter that just shoots, kind of sits down and she's running towards it, and it's massive. We've never seen it shot like that before. I feel like, and to your credit, pointing that out, is I feel like the original trilogy, they weren't able to accomplish that. So of course,
in this, you see it, and it's like you said, it's like, holy crap, that thing is massive. But it's a lot of the over-the-shoulder shots that they're doing, where it's putting you in that world of like, oh my god, this thing is massive. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, originally it was more of a task just to get that thing on screen, rather than how do we frame it in a way that looked kind of like in proportion and all that other stuff. It was just getting the toys on the screen, with however that was done back in the day. So
I'm interested in one thing. I heard, and because I'm that kind of nerd, I heard a rumor that there's going to be a scene, and it's going to involve Darth Vader. Spoilers, Toby. Guess what? He's in the trailer. He apparently, it's the idea, because when you think of it, he's always in the films we've watched, he's the big menace. Why is everyone so scared of this guy? And apparently there is a scene in this film where it shows why he's such a badass.
Let us know when you're done by tapping your head. We don't want spoilers.
I want to hear this.
No, we're not listening.
This is one thing I don't want to say. I don't want to hear. Okay, so here's my thing. Here's my thing.
I'm gonna have to remember that when I listen back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to edit that out, hopefully, and figure it out. But here's my question. Yeah, because I felt like, and I don't get this vibe when I watch the trailers or anything, but I felt like because of the time that it was set in, I feel like they should have went back in theory. And what I mean by that is, we just watched Stranger Things, and that gives that 80s feel to it. And I felt like because of in the timeline of when this all took place in real life, I wonder if they should have done something kind of like that, like set that up tonally and give that vibe and that feel like it was in the past. like it took place. When I watch this, that's where I feel like it's just more of the same. It's just it's all glitz and glamour and all that stuff. And I felt like they should have kind of backed it up a little bit and gave that vibe that it was shot in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could have come off maybe as cheesy, because this film takes place, was it like days before the actual New Hope kicks off?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think what they're doing is it's like, again, we know what's going to happen after it. So let's do a darker spin. We're telling a story where, you know, again, possibly not everyone comes out of this rosy.
Mm-hmm.
So they've given it to a director who's got a proven track record with effects films. Okay, Godzilla was his first big budget. Tonally, you know, when you're bringing Gareth Edwards in, what you're kind of going to get. You're going to get a darker slant on things. You're going to have a very visually impressive movie. And I think that's what Disney want. And you're right, Marvel are cookie cutter, but they've kind of got to keep everything in a universe, you know. With these films, side stories, I do think we're going to see, you know, we've got this Han Solo movie coming up. So I think the director choice for that is already quite an interesting one, because I think it was the guys behind the Lego movie that are doing that one, if I'm right. So again, tonally, what are we going to get something different? Could we be getting like a buddy movie type, you know, Star Wars buddy movie, if you want, with Solo and Lando, probably telling the story of that.
It's almost to the point that these guys, the directors that sign up, you're not really signing up for anything. You're signing up to do the movie that they want, and that's just the way it is. Like, it's almost like if you listen to Kevin Smith talk about when he directed an episode of Flash, and he was just like, I just showed up. They all know what they're doing. They just told me what to do, and that's what we did. You know, and that's kind of what it is, I feel. Like, that's why I think they had problems with Ant-Man, where directors are quitting and all that stuff. Like, because they're going in thinking, like, I'm going to be able to put my flair to these movies. And Marvel and now Lucas is just like, no. We don't want that. We want this movie. You need to tell that story. And I feel like that's kind of where it's heading.
Well, I think when you look at the fact they're bringing in, if they were bringing in more lesser-known directors that don't have, like I say, Edwards is not a guy who's going to come in and create what you want. I mean, they're going to have control over the last edit to a point. You know, you're going to tell the story they want. But I think within the world there, you can tell a visual story the way you want. So what I'm saying is, when he's framing shots, it's his film. I mean, you can tell that this is not Abrams. You can tell that this isn't, you know, Kurtzman or Lucas. This is a different guy coming in their world and saying, this is what I want my film to look like. This is the story that I want to tell. And I think there's going to be more flexibility and movement in those films than the main series. But again, you look at who they've got to direct them. You've got Abrams has kind of rebooted it. You've got I've forgotten his name, but the guy that directed Looper is doing episode 8, which is bizarre. And then you've got Colin Trevorrow coming to direct 9. Now, he's shown with Jurassic World that he can take something that's older and, again, spin it his own way. I'm interested to see his, because I think his could be the most, this is what a Spielberg Star Wars would have been like.
I like the fact that JJ backed out, because JJ's good at reintroducing stuff. He's bad at the follow-up. That's the only thing I can, you know. Like,
JJ really is, and same with Joss Whedon. They're creating just, this is how you do it. I will show you, not tell you, I will show you how it's done. Here, you guys can have it after that. And really, everybody else is kind of doing their version of a JJ movie, but with their spin on it. And then with Marvel side, with the Avengers, like, this is a version of what the scale and craziness that happens in a Joss Whedon movie. That's what DC needs, is a visionary to do the first one. And set the stage, but instead they're skipping to what Disney and Marvel are doing on the second, third ones of, okay, after things are set, they're getting these guys who they can mold and control. But DC is starting with that. They need somebody outside of the studio to set that straight.
The problem I feel with DC is like, and I like Zack Snyder. I know Alan doesn't, but I never expected Zack Snyder to direct everything. And it's like, okay, you did Man of Steel, thank you. I love Man of Steel. You did Batman v Superman, hit or miss, whatever. I liked it. Alan didn't. A lot of people didn't like it. It is what it is. Now you're doing Justice League, and it's like, okay, why? Like, why? That's where I feel like it's like, why is this guy just doing everything? And it's like, and especially if, now I get why he did Batman v Superman, because that was more or less supposed to be Man of Steel 2 originally, and then it shifted, and they started to go with the direction it was going. But I don't understand why he went to Justice League. I don't that part of it all kind of confuses me. But I like
think he wooed Warner Brothers with his pitch for Batman v Superman, and he set up, I can then do this universe. And my problem is WB put their eggs into the wrong basket with Snyder. He's a great cinematographer, but he's a crappy director. He can't tell a story. He can give you the visual cues, the stuff that you were talking about, like right out of the comics. But as a director of people, he's not. I still think with the Batman movie, we're going to see a soft reboot of the DC extended universe.
Yeah, but that doesn't come for a while.
Yeah, it's 2019, I think.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to be a reboot of anything. I think you're looking at, you got Wonder Woman coming this year, next year, and then I think it's Justice League right after that. I think it's Wonder Woman and Justice League. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how that all goes. That's.
If Wonder Woman flops, they've got problems.
I don't think Wonder Woman's going to flop. I think that everything that we've seen, first off, it's a totally different director. Second off, it's a different tone, different era. Just, it looks awesome. Everything they've shown so far just looks amazing. And that's the one thing that, like, you can't say with Batman v Superman. You can't really say with the Suicide Squad. When the first trailer hit for both of those, people had issues with them. People were talking nonsense about them. Everybody loved the Wonder Woman stuff. Every time you've seen Wonder Woman, people have raved about it. So I don't think, if they're just giving us more of that, I don't think that people are going to be upset with this at all. I think it's going to be really good. And then the nice...
Until Doomsday shows up in the third or fourth trailer for some stupid reason. I thought the first Batman v Superman trailers were great.
I liked them.
They went over, they jumped the shark, and then they brought in...
The problem was, and I've said this all along, DC has this issue of listening to the media and listening to the fans. And where...
Yeah, they focus group the crap out of this stuff.
But not even that. Like,
But on a mass scale through the internet somehow.
Exactly. Like, why are you listening to people, trolls, and just people that are ripping it apart where they focus too much on it? It's like, okay, a small percentage that is very vocal, like Greg Miller says it all the time, there's a vocal minority out there that jumps on Twitter and jumps on everything and bashes it. Don't listen to it. Like, keep moving forward. Take the positive, like, listen to constructive criticism, not just people ripping it like, oh, it was garbage, it was trash. Okay, why? Why was it garbage? Why was it trash? Explain it to me, and then I'll take you seriously. But that's what happened. That first trailer came out. I'm with you. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think you even liked it, Alan, that first trailer. And then the second trailer came out, and it was like, okay, more of this. I like it. And then that third trailer hit where they had Doomsday in it. And Alan, you were the first one who was like, why? Why did they show Doomsday? And I agree. Like, why did you show Doomsday? You didn't have to show Doomsday. You could have just that fan re-edited it and showed almost everything except you hear the roar of Doomsday and you don't see him. There was no need to show him. Again, back to what I said. Stop showing everything in the trailers. It's so stupid. Like, people are going to see this movie. It doesn't matter. The minute you put Batman v Superman, you didn't have to show nothing. Mm-hmm. People were going to line up to go see it. It was over. I don't know why. But I like the fact that now they've branched off and they're doing DC films now. And Jeff Johns is kind of in charge of all that. Because Jeff Johns is in charge of all the television that DC's doing. I don't think he's messing with Gotham. He might be a little bit. I haven't watched Gotham in a while. But as far as like Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, now Supergirl, like his hands are all over that stuff. And he's,
Lest we forget that his hands were also all over the Green Lantern movie.
It was not. It was not.
Yes,
they brought him in. No, they brought him in. He didn't have the pull. He didn't have the stroke that he has now. When they brought him in, that was his first dip into movies, and they only brought him in as a consultant. just to be like, hey, are we kind of hitting the tone? He even says now, like, that's not kind of what I wanted. That's not the direction I wanted to go. You know,
this is the problem. WB need to trust the folk, I think, because we need to get Sean's Geek Out because he's sat there patiently.
Oh, we got a bunch, but
but yeah,
went into a big
WB need to
here.
trust the people they're bringing in, because at the moment when you get stories coming out just before your film launches that you had for Suicide Squad, you had 2 edits of a film going head to head, and then it turns out that okay, well, both have got good points, so we're just going to take the good points from each edit, mash them together in a film, and stick it in the cinema. It's not a good way to make movies. You can knock Marvel, and they are cookie cutter, but the stuff they're pumping out is solid. It's enjoyable. It scratches the itch for the nerds that love Marvel. It scratches the itch for the mainstream audience as well. I think with Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers are going to get a lucky hit, but if they do a sequel, which I hope they do, because I think the idea's sound, they need to get a director like Shane Black on board to write and direct, because he's got a track record with that kind of quirky characters. I think they could do another really good follow-up to Suicide Squad, but they're going to have to trust whoever comes in to do the job.
What they need to do is, again, they need to stop listening to people. And what I mean by listening to people...
The thing that's different with Marvel, though, like you kind of breezed over something. I think we just bring this up just for a second.
Yeah, you got it.
Marvel has like this critical mass of movies coming out all the time. They're just like, they've got this barrage of all these movies. And so if they have a miss, it doesn't get blown out like this, like we see with DC, because it's like, this is the only DC movie we've had in however long it's been. So Avengers 2, I think not good. I think it's pretty bad, actually.
Yeah,
but nobody does this with it because we don't even have time for it, because we've got another one. We either had one just recently or we've got another Marvel movie to look forward to right away. But these DC movies seem more important because they're trying to establish something. So there's a whole bunch of panic going in when they do miss. So I wouldn't say that Marvel is infallible. I think that they've had a couple of misses for sure. So
but here's the difference. But here's the difference. When Marvel makes decisions, a lot of it's Joe Quesada. And Joe Quesada ran Marvel Comics for years, the print side of it. The minute the movie started to go, he moved over and started to take care of the movies.
Well,
Warner Brothers doesn't have that. And that's what I'm excited with Jeff Johns coming in as DC Films, because that's the problem. The problem is you have studio heads for Warner Brothers going, no, this Batman v Superman is too long, go cut it. I don't care what you cut, go cut it. And they cut, to me, I feel, very important plot lines. Things that you said for a fact, Alan, are in that Ultimate Edition.
I have watched the Ultimate Cut.
Mm-hmm.
While it does make up for some of the pacing issues, it's still just not a good movie. It's a 3-hour cut.
No, what I'm saying is this. There's issues that you said. Yeah. I'm going to point one out specifically, okay? Mm-hmm. So you said to me, I don't understand why Superman didn't know that there was a bomb in the Senate building. And
no, I don't. My issue was with the whole scene, not the fact that it was a bomb.
But listen to me. Let me finish. So you said, I don't like the fact that Superman didn't know that the bomb was in there. Why didn't he know the bomb was in there?
No, I didn't say that.
Jesus, stop. Listen. And the other thing was you didn't like that it didn't show that he was upset. He had no emotional range of all that. And I felt like, at the time, I was like, well, I didn't have an issue with it. There was so much going on in his head. Watch the Ultimate Cut. Well, there's a reason why he didn't see the bomb. Something they touch on in that movie that you miss. And they have that emotional scene afterwards where he's just devastated and gutted by what just took place. And I feel like those are scenes that never should have hit the floor. There's other scenes that could have got cut. You know, why is Lex Luthor acting goofy and crazy? I don't know. Maybe Darkseid's messing with him. Well, let's cut that part out, too.
If you want, you should definitely, folks, if you're listening, you haven't listened to it, the fight that I have with Joey Ferris and Bobby is quite good. But my issue with that whole sequence was more to do with the fact that he didn't get to have his bit, his say, his character moment. The edit you were talking about, he gets a little bit of that. But again, it felt like it was a visual moment over a character moment, and that's what Snyder does. But
we need to stop. We need to stop. Yeah. We need to move on. We've been way
now you call it.